Business motion confidence in the Minister for Health and Children to call on Deputy Jan O'Sullivan to move the motion. Deputy O'Sullivan has 40 minutes.
I'd like to share my time, with the permission of the House, with Deputies Burton, Lynch and O'Quailon.
Agreed.
Ceann Comhairle, I wish to move the following motion: that Dáil Éireann, expressing its serious concerns about disclosures of major failures in cancer care services at the Midlands General Hospital, Portlaoise, including the failure to diagnose breast cancer in 9 women who had presented for mammograms and the recall of a further 97 women who had undergone ultrasound scans at the hospital, deploring the way in which the women have been treated subsequent to these disclosures, including the failure to provide adequate counselling for those who have had to undergo surgery, and the fact that women who had undergone scans first heard on news bulletins that they might be recalled. Noting that concern had previously been expressed about the adequacy of equipment and facilities at Portlaoise, condemning the failure of the Department of Health and the HSE to ensure the provision of cancer screening and treatment services in which the public can have full confidence, urging the public, notwithstanding these alarming failures, to continue to present for screening and assessment, noting that the HSE was the creation of Minister Harney and that it has failed to deliver the improvements promised in the health services, believing in the principle of political accountability for such shocking failures in our health system, has no confidence in the Minister for Health, Mary Harney TD. And Ceann Comhairle, before I propose my own motion and speak to my own motion, I just want to express amazement that the Government's amendment does not propose confidence in the Minister for Health. It refers to a whole variety of things about sympathy and regret and expressing confidence in the efficiency and high quality of the work carried out in the review of mammograms, approves the actions of the Minister for Health, acknowledges the leadership shown by her and supports her in her commitment to ensuring equitable access to high quality cancer services. But nowhere in the wording of that motion does it express confidence in the Minister for Health. And I find that very extraordinary, and I wonder why there is no confidence expressed by Government in the Minister for Health tonight. We've tabled this motion of no confidence in the Minister for Health because the women and their families who have suffered so appallingly are entitled to have their health and their lives taken seriously enough for someone to take responsibility. If political accountability is to mean anything, then Minister Harney must accept overall responsibility for the way in which these women were treated. Of course, she is not responsible for the misdiagnosis, but she set up the system that has become so focused on itself rather than the patient that, incredibly, it ended up telling the Oireachtas Health Committee, before it told the women themselves, that they, 97 human beings who had been told they were clear of cancer, had to be recalled and may, after all, have had the disease when they were first referred for tests. How could it have happened that these women did not get an individual and immediate response as soon as the doubt was known? How could it have happened that their files were neatly stacked up and batched one by one until the number got right up to 97 to be dealt with as a package? How could it have appeared more important to protect the system by telling the committee than to protect the women by telling them? How could it have happened that 24 hours later, when the Minister and the nation knew that those women had still not got a phone call? How could counselling not have been put in place as promised? And how could the helpline not be staffed with sufficient personnel to stop it from being swamped? The Minister can have 3 highly paid advisors on her staff, but only 2 cancer care nurses could be found to staff the helpline. Every time we think lessons have been learned, something else happens to show that they haven't. And the Minister's response? She has asked for a report from the board of the HSE, which we are told, when looking at why inadequate systems stayed in place despite the letter sent directly to the Minister in July 2005 by Mr Peter Naughton, a surgery in Portlaoise, who described the diagnostic services there as a shambles. The Minister must be accountable on all these matters of vital concern. If no one is considered responsible, no lessons will be learned. The unidentified woman at the ICA public meeting a few days ago expressed what most women in Ireland are now thinking. If I find a lump or another symptom that worries me and I go for tests, can I be sure that the result I'm given is correct? That is now a fundamental question which no woman should have to ask. The latest news that 15 patients at Cork University Hospital and perhaps others at UCHG were wrongly diagnosed are adding to the uncertainty. It is essential that trust is restored, but this can only be done by making transparent and real change. We've been accused of stirring up fears and playing political games. I want to confront those accusations and refute them. The fears and mistrust that are out there are caused by the facts of what has happened. Women's lives have been unnecessarily put at risk. The monstrous bureaucracy, the HSE, that was set up by the political decision of the government and the minister, failed miserably to handle the consequences appropriately and ensure that the focus was on patient care. It is our job to hold the minister and the HSE to account. We would be letting down brave women like Rebecca O'Malley and Susie Long, the Midlands woman who spoke with her back to the camera to protect her family, the mother of 4 from Kildare, who was one of the 9 whose mammography was misdiagnosed and who has had surgery, if we did not speak out as strongly as we can. That woman from Kildare told the Irish Times this morning that she had no faith in Minister Harney. She said, and I'm not going to quote the whole lot, but she did say, "I don't think she has a clue how to run the system. I know she didn't do the mammograms, but after the way she has handled this whole situation, I really do think she should step down." They were brave enough to stand up. They were brave enough to be counted, and so should we be. It is a once-in-a-generation event. It is our generation's chance to put patients first in the design of the management of health services. It is our chance to put in place modern, effective management to make the best use of these tremendous resources we are applying to health and to get clear value and clear results for that money. Further on in her speech that day, she said that there were 2 ways the government policy would be judged: better outcomes for patients and better value for taxpayers' money. To achieve them, we badly need clarity of roles and accountability. This is what the Minister said. Political responsibility for the Minister and management responsibility for the management. The lines of responsibility and accountability are clear in this legislation, the clearest they will ever have been in health administration in this country. That will make a real difference to the quality of health services provided for our people. 3 years on, the only thing that is clear is that none of this has been delivered. There is no clarity of accountability, no value for money, no taking of responsibility, and above all, no sense that patients are being put first. It has become a huge centralised bureaucracy with hundreds more senior and middle management personnel than ever existed in the old health board systems. When you talk to people, and I've talked to many, who take care of patients at the coalface of the services, they say that it is much harder now to get decisions made. Morale is low, and there's a huge level of frustration around the system. The HSE should have never been set up in its cumbersome, centralised, top-heavy form. There needs to be root and branch reform, with layers of management taken out and lines of accountability clearly defined, including that of the Minister.